quite skilled in. I don't remember, but it was one of the ethnic groups was sort of allied with Germany.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. It was
And so they were
so much
killed
so.
by soldiers from a fellow who wasn't Yugoslavia then.
The others. Anyways, tell me about your experience. What do you think about? I know it's just one school out of.
So no. It's as much as I could have taken in this morning. Thank God.
Yes. Okay. Good. Yeah. That's what we said.
And
We'll.
it's because, in fact, I could have spent more time there hearing. I don't quite get the organization. Well, you don't have to be there to find out.
Yes.
I mean, now I'd like to know it.
More. Yes.
And especially as we went to this innovative group.
Innovation Studios.
Who
Yes.
talked about the other school, the rest of the school, as though it was very traditional. And I was trying to make sense of that.
Right. I know.
He said,
I know.
There you have to take the different subjects and let the teachers tell you what to do. And I said, no,
I heard something else. Yes, it's very interesting because the Innovation Studios is completely out of the box and it's very learner driven and learner centered.
But that's what you said about the rest of the school. The whole school is kind of learner driven.
It is. It is. It is.
So just compared to that.
Yes.
So that's what was funny. Because my first impression was that there wasn't such a thing as math classes. But apparently there is.
There is. They do. Yeah. There is. They do. Well, not in traditional sense like a math class, but math experiences. Absolutely. Yes. I mean, we'll still do that.
Time of the day where
Yes.
they were doing math.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
anyway, that was fascinating, and it's certainly a very heterogeneous mix. You know, I thought at first that there were no black kids, but it turned out that there were. Quite a
Tons.
lot. It was
Tons.
and yeah, it really was very
Equity and access has been a great focus of ours for staff and kids as well. Especially, in democratically run schools like this or schools with voice and choice. It's very, very important how to instill the habits since they're little. That's why we went with the model for the 7 habits and implementing the 7 habits and the character lab. So we really.
got a list of the 7 habits. Send it to me.
Oh yes, absolutely. Yes, they were up on the wall, but yes, they're very useful because we're joking when kids come from traditional school districts. After a month, they start using the jargon at home. You gotta think first thing first, or let's say win-win situation. And parents go crazy, but then we have Parent University that we educate the parents as well. So after a few months, when parents and kids start speaking the same language and they adopt the strategies for mediation, negotiation, or even just interaction in general, it's a life savior from saving family relationships and classroom management, everything else. Because everyone has been going after us asking, well, what's your punishment? What's your discipline system? And we're like, well, we use love and logic.
What my answer to that to people is, it depends.
Yes, it's absolutely.
That's my new slogan anyway.
Absolutely. That's Dawn's too. That's what she says.
Yeah.
Case from case. It varies case from
You have
case.
to describe to me the situation.
Yes.
Your knowledge of that child.
Absolutely.
Blah, 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 blah. But it's a good answer to many things.
Right? Yes.
It depends.
Very.
Context matters.
Absolutely. And now we, for the older grades, we adopted restorative practices as well. So that has become
What is that
super
called?
useful. Restorative practices, it comes from the restorative justice system. Yes.
Restorative.
So we just go through a set of questions, and instead of having an external ownership of a problem will help the kids own the problem and come up with solutions. So what happened? How did you feel? Why do you think it happened? Where is it coming from? So it's a really great strategy to dig deeper, because the majority of the times
We used our 5 habits a month. My kids
Oh,
had a
yes.
discipline question.
Yes.
I'd say, start off with what happened and how would I know is there another version of this?
Yes.
What's the evidence for your version? What's the evidence? The teacher sent you in from the yard to me, and I, say, well, whose version? Would you and the teacher who sent you up here to me agree on the story?
Yes.
Is there another viewpoint that was one or 5?
These are exactly so similar.
Is this a pattern? Have you been doing?
Yes.
Is this one of a unique example, or have you been doing this pattern?
As a repetitive, yes.
And what if you had done some X different? Would it have turned out differently? What if? And the last one is, do you know why we care about this?
This is so very close to the restorative practices. It's almost exactly the same, yes.
Yeah, it's good for looking at studies on what it's done in Yugoslavia.
Yes.
What have you used? What's your evidence about that?
No, it's perfect. And the reason why it works and why we love it so much is because it takes away so much from the director's plate, because all the kids would end up in the principal's office, right? And it's like, it's not their problem. And then kids give up on learning conflict resolution strategies or owning a problem, even worse. And then the problem becomes like an external something instead.
The Weissman film, there's a scene in which 2 older boys, 2 younger boys are having a mediation of conflict resolution with 2 older students, which was what they were doing at that time, and they would be helping them. And they were doing a wonderful job. A teacher who was actually wonderful, but like a lot of adults, she starts interfering. She starts taking it over.
Yes.
And watching it on the screen, I'm like screaming, Jill!
Don't do it.
Go away!
Yes.
But it's a good training film, because I tell people who want to use it for courses of the film, that's worth looking at that and seeing if you can understand why she destroyed the process by
Meddling, yes.
meddling. The boys are explaining, the older boys said, one thing you can always do with this, if you find yourself getting into this again, is come to look for me. Look for me, or what the other kid's name was, and we can help you before you get in trouble. And it's nice of them to see themselves as
What they do,
like the adults who had to help them ahead of time. And Jill says, well, you can also come to me. So this was a competition. I don't know. There's several scenes which were sort of funny, because you realize you're not seeing best practice. And the teacher realized that. And I always thought Jill would be embarrassed about that. But apparently she sees it and thinks it's fine.
Wow. It's nice to have evidence to look at yourself, especially as adult. We don't even realize how much we disable instead of enable kids. Every age. I'm talking about every age. We recently
How much
visited.
of the time is spent on adult talk?
Yes.
You suddenly look and think, that adult was speaking 3/4 of the time.
Yes.
Kids in that class.
Yes. We recently visited Bev Boss's school. I don't know if you have heard about it. Bev Boss.
Where is it?
Bev Boss, it's in Sacramento, just a little bit outside Sacramento. But it's almost as a whole movement. After her, there's like a Bev Boss's educational trend.
That's her name?
Where,
The school's named after her?
Yes.
Not a slightly narcissistic.
Yes. No, but,
That's true. Montessori, you named them.
yes, after the, true. So it's
What's her first
completely
name?
Bev. Oh,
Bev?
I don't know. I don't know if that's her full legal name or that's how she goes by. Bev
And
Boss.
Voss is the last name?
Uh-huh.
B-O-S-S?
Yes.
Never heard.
Bev Boss. So at her school, primarily she is early childhood education. Every single thing, it's kid directed, kids run, and adults are there to facilitate or help kids this process. To a point that, so it's been ages since I've taught preschool, and when we went to visit, my adulting thing goes, "Hi, what are you doing?" And an adult comes running from the other corner, swoops me up in a corner and says, "Unless a child needs you, you never address child first."
I'm not sure I agree with you.
I'm like, okay. So they run the complete early childhood education program. They set up centers, but they don't tell kids what to do. It's completely exploratory.
But not having interaction with children seems odd.
No, they do have interaction, but the kid has to initiate it. So a child has to come and say, "Miss Angie, can you and so and so," or ask me a question, and then I engage, but I don't initiate. I mean, that's her philosophy. It's like every single action has to be initiated with a child and by a child,
I don't agree with that.
not by an
Better
adult.
than the opposite.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's the
So
opposite
it's just
extreme is much
preschool?
worse.
Is it,
Yes, it's just preschools that run on this philosophy. There is an elementary school
that's
right
one
next.
reason I like the multi-age schools.
Yes.
Because the kids learn about something from kids who've just learned about it.
I agree.
And,
Yes.
so it's not unnatural. They just watch other kids who can do something and they,
Mm-hmm.
so to speak, imitate. And, but they also can ask help.
True.
I think it was in, I'm not sure, it was Reggio Emilio.
Uh-huh. Reggio Emilia is multi-age, yes.
That had in New York had first to fifth grade classes.
Yes.
And I thought that was interesting.
How would it go? Well, all those initiatives I completely agree with 100%. The problem is they only work, I mean, to my experience and my understanding so far, they only work in small group settings. Like it's not sustainable with large, huge districts or large classes where you have more than 25 kids in each class, and then you put them all together and you have first through fifth grade of 80 kids.
Well, if the total school is small, I think it,
Yes,
you know,
yes.
my friend Stephanie Lee,
Uh-huh.
who had a charter school, unfortunately it didn't last. They didn't get high enough test scores. She had a marvelous bilingual school at Long Beach. It's called. Anyway, I think that's what it's called. And it was in an old, sort of like a house.
Uh-huh.
And the kids were comfortable in all each other's different rooms. There was a room that was mostly blocks. It wasn't an age grade. The kids had little homeroom.
Uh-huh.
Then, for a large part of the day, they went, depending what they wanted to do.
Yes.
They went to these very rich rooms of various different ages. The kids would be in the block room, obviously doing different kinds of things, but sometimes the little younger kids would be helping the older kids build something more complicated. But it was a wonderful school. I loved it. I loved to visit there.
How many,
Closed it.
how big was it?
I don't remember. Small, probably 150 kids at most.
Oh, yeah. So we worked with one school like that in Malibu. Sycamore, it was called Sycamore. I mean, it still exists, but we help them codify themselves, who they are, what they do, and the program. It's exactly like that. It's K through, or TK, transitional kindergarten, through, I believe it was sixth grade, and it was growing every year. But it's private, and there's no grade levels. The kids just bounce between spaces based on what they're interested in and readiness and things like that, and they learn tons from each other and off of each other. but it's easier for one teacher to just cater to the specific needs to a small group. But when it becomes big group, it's really hard. And then the other part is, if you are not private, then the test scores get you. Because test scores, unfortunately, don't show intelligence or...
They show your social and economic class.
Yes.
And ethnicity or something.
Yes.
They're incredibly close. But if you wanted to find out what someone's family status was,
You look at
economically,
test scores,
you
yeah.
test their kids on one of our standardized tests, and you have
Figure it
occasional
out,
measurement
yeah.
error, but on the whole, be as good a method as anything else to find data.
I agree.
And it's because of the way they designed them. I mean, they literally design them so that's the only result they can have. Because when they're designing them, if more black kids get a certain item right than white kids, they know it's a bad item. It's removed.
Yeah.
So beforehand they have decided who the smart kids are,
Yes.
and
How to cater to them.
what they are trying to do is get low income and kids who aren't part of the mainstream culture. They're measuring all the kids against that standard rather than their own
Variety.
standard. So it's just
And also the way that we decide what to measure. I mean,
well, yeah, but
that's another conversation.
yes. Because
Completely.
first of all, what are you covering? But second of all,
Uh-huh.
if you're covering it in a way that, so we were looking at it. I had a friend who worked at ETS, so we were looking
Uh-huh.
at various items, and he brought me some items that are what they call black preference, which aren't used, and we tried to compare them to an item that's covering the same subject matter that is white preference. So the item is the same subject. They've just worded it slightly differently. And
Wow.
apparently from one culture, white middle class, upper middle class culture understands this way of wording it, whereas kids coming from this culture, you do better if it's worded a different way.
Wow.
I mean, it's just staggering. Because you have this data that must be true for some reason. The black kids got this item right, and both were measuring the same thing.
Because operational language varies culturally as
Yeah.
well. It might be a passive language, but operational language for different races and cultures is completely different.
The translation of, small translation of the word of or times,
Yes, how you use prepositions, especially in English, can change a connotation of an entire premise. Absolutely. Absolutely. That is so interesting. No, with us, it's the same thing, especially in the charter world. No matter how great we are, no matter what quantitative and qualitative data aside from tests we show, the bottom line is when a district authorization comes, none of that matters. So right now with the other school, SCBI, when we went through reauthorization, I mean, there's so many little things that they put on a spot and they come to observe every single time. And the problem is, like, we're on a math improvement plan, vocabulary improvement plan. So every time that they come, they're in an awe that we take the majority of the kids that they expel. And they're so surprised that they thrive in our organization because they finally find their voice, they can speak up, they become independent, they learn how to learn, they love to learn. And at the end of the day, they go back, they report, oh my goodness, Santa Clarita Valley is doing amazing. And then the board over there asks, but how about their math scores?
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
It takes away the entire persona of looking at a child to, oh, they're still a number.
Yeah.
And then we need to reculturate that and say, no, you're not a number. It's a learning continuum. You're not there yet. And this is what not yet means. But it's on daily basis, So then what I was saying earlier about our hardships with high school, it's the same thing. How can you instill the habit with parents and kids that grades don't matter when they will not get accepted to colleges and universities they want to go if they don't have a letter grade? So our programs that are competency based,
You can translate your.
so that's what we do. That's what we do. We have a wizard machine where we have to translate everything, but still it takes ages to change the language.
Also, if you're going to translate it, the kids have to know how you're translating it.
Yeah.
Because it's unfair to the kids if you said that's a wonderful piece of work and then you write down it's the same.
Yes. No,
As a
true.
translation